They called me Nikki G. Some people have called me Nikki G in college.
What's going on, everyone? This is the Aggie Game Day Extra Podcast. I'm Travis Brown. It feels like it's been a long time since we've been back in the studio, but here we are, and I'm alongside Nicole Griffith. No Tyler Shaw. We don't need Max Crawford. All we really need is Nikki G over here on the ones and twos.
I feel like next man up mentality, right?
No, you're actually you're kind of the Caden Sorrell. You're coming back from injury, and you're the starter.
All right.
Yeah.
Today has been it has been busy. Today, tomorrow, yesterday. It's all the same.
It's always busy. And I hope okay. So we're gonna talk a little bit about baseball, and everybody who's an Aggie fan wants to see baseball go far. But it is kind of nice for us when things slow down a little bit. And we get a little bit of time to catch your breath before football season goes into full flight.
Yes, especially coming off last year, going to the College World Series for 14 straight days. As much as fans and it's hard for me to say, I loved it. It was great. It was fun to cover, but it's that's 14 straight days of work.
Yeah, you don't even know. And when you pack to go to the College World Series, you're packing to either be there 3 days or 15 days.
Mm-hmm. And I luckily used to live in Nebraska, so I have some of my friends live in Omaha, and I did laundry. So
nice.
I was like, I need to come over if we are in it for the long haul.
Nice. Yeah. For me, Omaha was great until right before the final series, and then I was like, I'm ready to go home. I'm walked a lot. I'm hot. I got a little bit of a whiny toddler, right before the final series.
I think it came down to game 2 of the final series, and I was like, we have to be here another day.
Well, and y'all drove. This was before I was with KBTX, so y'all drove. So y'all were able to kind of hit the road the next day. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get a flight until the day after the last day. So we were just kind of up there chilling for another day, watching them tear down the College World Series.
And covering Schloss.
Who is currently, we are recording a little bit later tonight. It's Thursday. They are playing Tennessee right now.
Yep, it is tied in the top of the 11th.
So probably by the time we get done with recording this, we'll know.
Someone should have won the game.
Yeah, someone should have won. Big news on the A&M baseball front today. Mm-hmm. I know you were bouncing around a lot today. I watched the game at home, was writing, tweeting. You were doing everything, as Tyler and Morgan are both off right now. And so were you watching live at all when the Jace injury happened, or did you kind of catch up with it later?
Unfortunately, I did not see it happen live. I was listening to the call while I was getting ready for the day. And then I came into work. I was listening to it, and then on the car ride in, and then I knew Caden Kent had hit that home run, so I was like, okay, I got a highlight I can lay down. And
it's really all about us all the time.
I'm because I side tangent had 2 high school shoots today, so I was like, I have something at 1 and I have something at 3:30, so I have to get these highlights cut by a certain time, and so I came in at noon, and anyways, so I see I know Caden Kent has a home run, so I'm laying that plate. I'm recording that because we record the DVR of it, and then I go fast forward to the Auburn home run because that's the next run, and I was gonna put on Twitter Jeff Kent looking so excited that he always is, and I lay that home run down. Lay it down means I just record it and put it on a sequence. Sorry, that's TV edit.
You cut
terms. I cut it, but then I go on Twitter and I see a tweet that says losing Jace, and it's a freak, people are tweeting about it. I'm like, wait, Jace is what? Because I had just fast forwarded through the game to the next score, and so I went back and I watched it, and I saw it unfold because you guys had tweeted that, oh, Jace is hurt, he's going to first base. Looks like he's staying in the game. Oh, quote tweets. Oh, wait, no, he's coming out of the game. So I had just seen the next half, the home half of the inning. So I had to go back and record it and lay it down. So that's not long story short. That's how I saw the Jace.
We're pulling back the curtain a little bit on how this all. I mean, so I was at home still watching this. I had a longtime friend, a former coworker who does radio, Matt Mosley, ask if I'd do a little hit for his radio show record. So I was like, yeah, sure. It's the middle innings, like. Nothing's big's going to happen or anything like that. So we had to record. It was going to air. It's probably on right now, about now on Thursday evening, and we were. We had to kind of make it, like we're doing today on this. We had to make it a little bit. Not directly talking about the game going on then, because it needed some shelf life. It needed to be able to exist that evening. And as I'm on the phone, I'm watching, and then first Caden Kent breaks his bat.
Yes.
Which was right before him, which is weird when you see a metal bat snap in half. And he's shaking his hand oh, did he get hurt? No, he was fine. He went on. And then Jace LaViolette checks his swing. The ball comes in tight on him, and he's shaking his hand and kind of bouncing around and looks like in pain. And Jace has gotten hurt a few times in his career, and you never quite know the extent of the injury just based on his reaction, because he is a expressive dude. You don't know.
He's been plunked against Texas last year. He was plunked in the elbow, and I mean, you saw the size of a baseball come out of his elbow.
I know, there's a big knot.
Yes.
Yeah, and you thought, oh man, is he done for the season? He stayed in the game. He was out there. So you never know. You kind of have to see how it progresses to see where he's at. So he gets a lot of look. The trainer looks at him. He's shaking his hand. They take his glove off, and then he goes on to first base and tries to stay in the game. And a pitch later, he's motioning the dugout I got nothing.
Because it was a pass ball, I think, or he could have stole second.
Correct.
And he didn't. And then it's I think he's not running anymore.
Yeah, he's hurting. So they pull him out. The broadcast says, he wasn't in the dugout for several innings, and mentions that they have an x-ray machine in the Hoover Met. And then when he finally emerges, he has a big old wrap. It's not really a cast because that's plaster, but it's medical tape, bandages wrapped around. You can see there's a splint on two of his left fingers, and he's kind of walking around with that on. He gets up on the railing, and Hayden Schott comes over and says something to him, and Jace says something back, and Schott kind of shakes his head and puts his arm around him, and so we're thinking this probably isn't that good. Well, come to find out, Mike Early confirmed with us after the game he did break a finger on his left throwing hand as the ball hit his knuckles on while they were on the bat. And that will for sure keep him out of the rest of the SEC tournament. But they, at least for starting, they still need to get some further evaluation, he said, on maybe there could be potential he could pinch run if they needed him, or if there was a chance that maybe if they make it to the NCAA tournament, he would be able to go at that point. But just a crazy way. It just seems like that injury bug always bites A&M at the worst time in the last few years.
Well, and it's night and day difference from, game one, grand slam. Jace gets out of a hitting slump. I mean, the numbers, 4 for 46.
Well, let's go ahead and bring him up right here.
4 for 46, longest slump of his career. He was originally 2 for 7. He was 4 for 46. That's this leading up into the tournament. That the longest slump he had ever had in previous games was two hits in 7 games. Okay.
His freshman year. So he hadn't gone anywhere close to this kind of stretch his whole career.
Hadn't put the Georgia series, didn't put a ball in play, 9 punch outs, and he's one of the leaders. He is one of the guys that when Schloss left, not to just bring that up, but he was one of the guys that you needed to bring back to help keep this team intact, and he's the career home run leader, for program leader, and he broke that this year. It's it's so unfortunate. Like, you finally get out of that slump and you hit that grand slam, and okay, the offense came alive. They won 9-0 against I don't even who they even play. Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm. It's been a week. It's been a month this week.
It all runs together, but and then they come out and you're like, okay, game 2, Caden Kent has a home run. Haven't seen that in a few games. Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, maybe the offense is like starting to click, because like when pitching is going well, the offense is, or the bats, they're never like married on the same day, and so it's so unfortunate, like seeing him get pulled out. I mean, you never want someone to be injured, and is for it to be Jace in this part of the season, and they're dealing with Caden Sorrell, has been up and down. You have like Josh Stewart, who's been injured for a while. Gavin Grahovac has been out for a while, so it's just like it's tough blows for this team who needs wins in this postseason play.
Are you saying that the bats and the pitching aren't married this year? They're in more of a situationship than marriage this year?
I would say it's very toxic.
It's a toxic relationship between the bats. Well, we'll close this out. Jace, that historically bad slump he had, goes from the first game of the Texas series into the SEC tournament. That doesn't count the Mississippi State game or the game they just played against Auburn. 4 for 46, 25 strikeouts in that frame, which is 41% of his total strikeouts this season. He has around just over 60 strikeouts this season, and 25 of them came in those 13 game stretch. He has 2 home runs. I'm really great at
home runs. Nice.
In that stretch. Both were in the Missouri series, but he did walk 13 times, and so. It's that injury bug has been brutal. You mentioned Gavin Grahovac, the third baseman, who is supposed to be another like 20 home run hitter for A&M like he was last year. He was injured early in the season, and he's been like the first base coach. He was actually kind of over there helping Jace while he was hurt, because he's been coaching first base. He was done for the year. You have Josh Stewart out, Shane Sadeo out. Caden Sorrell is, as Michael early said, still day-to-day, and he had kind of a hand injury in that series finale against Georgia. And then you go back to last year, where A&M is in the Super Regional looking to advance to Omaha and make some noise, and Braden Montgomery, their big first-round draft pick, gets hurt, breaks his leg in that situation. It just doesn't seem like they can ever get that great luck at the right time, and they're in a position to need it.
Hey y'all, it's Max, and if you've been watching the pod, you know this by now, that we have a new official sponsor of the Aggie Game Day Extra podcast. And it is a familiar face. You know him, you have seen him around Aggieland for many, many years. Say hello to C&J Barbecue. Now, I don't know if there are many of you out there, but if you live in the Brazos Valley and you have not been to C&J Barbecue yet, what on earth are you guys doing? The crew at C&J started out smoking just about 20 pounds of meat a day in a tiny gas station on a Harvey Road. Now, they serve over 2,200 pounds every single day across 3 locations. So you know it's good. They've fed President Bush, catered for Willie Nelson. Yeah, Willie. But most importantly, they've been feeding Aggies and locals for over 40 years. In fact, I had myself some at a catering event last weekend, and the brisket was absolutely amazing. Don't even get me started on the sides and the appetizers, because Justin is always cooking up some amazing stuff. Just get there, see, smell, and taste for yourself. Tell them the guys sent you. C&J Barbecue, a family tradition.
But before we get to that, there's a chance that if A&M doesn't make some more noise in the SEC tournament, their season could be done. They really need to advance further to do that. And if their season is done, and we don't know the full prognosis of this or what the recovery will be, but Michael Early seemed to be maybe a little hopeful they could bring him back. But if they don't make it to the NCAA tournament, if they don't make it there, probably his time is done at A&M. And so as we kind of bring up this is his career stats as of Thursday, how do you kind of remember the Jace LaViolette era at A&M?
Yeah, he's been one of the best to do it. And I remember his freshman year, it was like strikeout or home run. There was no difference. And he would strike out you go through your freshman. He's a power hitter, and he's going to swing for the fences every time. And so I remember he was kind of in a little bit of a slump, not the slump that he had this year, but and we talked to him one time about like how do the bats get going for A&M. He's like, it's just baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just one of the chill guys. He loves the sport. He wasn't even like chasing the home run record, but it just and he broke the record in 3 years. It was previously set by Dalen Holt, which was set in 4 seasons. And so it's at first you didn't know if he was going to come back this year, if he was going to break that home run record, because he was within out of single digits, and then we were all on Jace watch for half the
Forever.
season. And then
you were the only one on duty that week, and I think I had a cold. It was a mess.
It finally happened. I was like, I texted the group, and I was like, it happened. He did it. I got it. We got the home run. So, and then just his play in center field. He's tall. He's big. He makes good plays. I think it's just he'll be, and he's going to projected high draft pick. So. It's just, you wish it could have ended differently, but you say that a lot. Only one team wins at the end, so it's hard to say that.
It was crazy to have that run, as you see here. As of right now, if that were to be his last game, he'd finish out with a 285 career batting average, 430 on base percentage, 579 slugging. As Nicole mentioned, the 68 home run, that's a A&M career record. 200 RBIs, 220 strikeouts. You mentioned that the dichotomy between home runs and strikeouts with Jace. Going back to his freshman year, I believe early on, like those first 7 or 8 games, he went 3 for 7, three hits in 7 games, and there was a stretch of 0 for games in there, and then he kind of caught fire a little bit, and went on through, and then it was there at that 2 hits in 7 games happened through the end of the conference tournament freshman year, and then into that Stanford regional where things just kind of went a little cold for him. But last year was the big key year. I mean, he was just electric last year, and the crazy part about that is he was still probably the second best player on the team behind Braden Montgomery, and everything that he was able to do both in average and power. This was kind of supposed to be his year. It was his draft year. It was interesting that when he was on the SEC Network set after the Mississippi State game, they were asked, like, hey, this is a draft year for you. How do you kind of keep that in and out of your mind, or is it something that you're thinking about? And he said, I tried to fool myself earlier in the season and tell people, like, no, it's not on my mind. I wasn't thinking about it. But he came to realize that, actually he was thinking about it a lot, and it was kind of on his mind about how much he needed to perform, not only to break that home run record, but to put up good numbers and maintain his position in the draft that's coming up here in a couple of months. And he kind of said, once he kind of let that go and he realized, like, okay, it's something that I'm dealing with. It's something that I'm going to be thinking about, but I don't need to, like, deny that, but I also just need to go out there and play ball. That things kind of loosened up for him a little bit. So it is kind of a shame to see the season end potentially like it did if this was his last game, because he did seem to maybe be catching on to things. You mentioned that grand slam. He kind of called that baby steps towards getting back to the approaches and the swings that he wanted. But it kind of lines up a little bit with Wade Taylor over the basketball. We were on Jace watch at the same time we were on Wade watch for the career points record, and there are 2 guys that might be 2 of the best talents to have done it for their respective programs. They were here at the same time. They were chasing the big records at the same time, and you would think that both of them would have something meaningful to bring out of it, as far as the contributions for the team, and they just kind of they fell short last year, though, making it as far as they ever have in Omaha. And this year, they're going to need a deep run in the SEC tournament to be able to even make the postseason.
And they've already won 2 games, but the pitching is thin for the team. The bullpen has shown its flaws, but that doesn't mean they can't win. I mean, I know this podcast needs to have some life to it. But you're confident potentially with the LSU matchup. But it's hard because it's the day and night change from this last year to this year. And Michael Early said it in the press conference today, a post-game press conference. We are just not. The problem is not that they don't care. The problem is that they played bad baseball. They couldn't in the beginning of the year. That's what. And I think is just so confusing to people that happened. And now they're in this situation where they need to win multiple games at the SEC tournament. Oh, and what's happening? You're losing a good player every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
what? I mean, I don't even want to say it. Like, what else? Like,
right? It would sure help if they could get Caden Sorrell back. They're really going to have to rely on, talking about how you replace Jace LaViolette. Today it was they put in Jamal George, who ended up going to right field. They moved Terrence Keel over. Now, defensively, Terrence Keel put on a show. There was a deep hit fly ball.
Of course he did. It's Terrence Keel.
Right. He's a flashy guy. He does things big. And he made a big catch running back onto the warning track where he kind of turned and dove backwards to make the catch with a runner on, preserve that A&M lead, and it was a big play at a big time. So I think defensively you're fine out there with Terrence Keel. It's just offensively, I mean, they only get 4 hits today. They have the 3-run home run. This is going to need to be a team that draws a lot of walks and then makes good on getting those guys on and getting over, kind of going to a little bit of a small ball route for a team that is like so dependent on the home run. You even looked at late innings today. They had Gavin Cash square around for a sacrifice bunt, and he ended up popping it back up to the pitcher. They're going to need every player, no matter how good or how much power you have, you need to be able to bunt the ball, and they're going to have to be able to necessarily display that moving forward. But like you said, they have LSU tomorrow night, Friday night. If they were to win that game, they played the winner of Ole Miss and Arkansas. And then at the top of that bracket, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Texas are playing right now, and we don't have a score update on that yet. But that would be any of the matchups. And honestly, here's the thing. This is the round where the top 4 seeds come off their double bye and get into the action. It's the most the worst kept secret in college baseball that the top seeds, the ones that know they're probably going to be national seeds and make the NCAA tournament, they don't necessarily need to waste their time in Hoover, especially when it was double elimination. It's single elimination now, and waste their pitching for a tournament that isn't really going to affect anything other than maybe they get a chance to win an SEC title. And so you might see LSU in that game throw a Tuesday starter against probably Miles Patton for A&M. And if Arkansas beats Ole Miss and they go out, Arkansas might be throwing their Sunday guy or something like that, backing into a championship and letting some of those guys get rest. And so A&M has the opportunity that, if they throw Miles Patton tomorrow and they need to throw a bullpen game in the semifinal, they might be going up against a Sunday guy or another Tuesday guy. You always kind of have a chance if you're a lower seed fighting through because you're taking this potentially more seriously than some of the other teams.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a waiting game. We'll see if with this A&M baseball team, you don't know if they're going to score 9 runs with a grand slam or 3 runs with 1 home run. And that was the only offense for the day.
I personally think A&M needs to get to the SEC final at least to have a chance to be back in. I mean, they're still sitting at 50 RPI right now. The goal is to get as close to 30 as possible if you want to get in. And so they beat number 1 Auburn today. That helps a little bit. And LSU, all these teams moving forward are going to be in the top 10 in the RPI. But they need to get there. Winning the whole thing, of course, that automatically puts you in. What's your gut feeling? I think it's going to be... I think pitching-wise, they're set up okay. But I think without Jace and that ability to, even though he hasn't been consistent, that ability to change a game with one swing and having another guy out of the lineup that can do that, I don't know if they have the gas to get through 3 more games. And then even if they did get through a regional, it seems tough to me. They don't have that Caden Kent to slot in for Braden Montgomery going out.
Yeah, and I think if they do make a regional, at least they would have time to reset, right?
I mean, true.
Prager and Lampkin would get rest, but they, they've already been used. They've won 2 games. I'm really intrigued by. It's like a part of me can see it ending tomorrow. I can see it ending against LSU, but also like it could surprise you, and then it will just set up for more heartbreak, right, for the Aggie fans, if A&M. Keeps winning and then loses in the championship game or loses in the semifinals. So with this team, I've seen it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's what team's going to show up at the ballpark? It's been a better one lately. We'll have to see. Have a little bit of abbreviated podcast this week because A, there's not a whole lot going on, and B, we're a little short staffed, so we're scrambling around. But we'll continue to have all the coverage of everything going on with the SEC tournament, and hopefully more on what's going on with Jace LaViolette. Check KBTX.com for that, or the broadcast. You can see Nicole and Morgan on that here in the next couple of days. And then next week, I'll be in Destin for the SEC spring meetings, bringing live coverage from everything that's going on there. Setting new SEC schedules, the House settlement, what the future of college college sports looks like from an administrative level. I'll have you covered there. So be sure to check KBTX.com, get that sports app, and check the broadcast, and we'll have all the best stuff from all of those offerings there. So for Nicole Griffith, for Tyler Shaw, who's not here, for Max Crawford, who's not here, I'm Travis Brown. This is the Aggie Game Day Extra podcast. We'll see you next week.